The Central Club.
The circumstances are very sad, really. But I want to voice your opinion because through the mainstream propaganda and what you see on TikTok is just it's all negative. And I want to hear from someone's perspective who is really touched by this matter. And the matter is Remembrance Sunday, the poppies, the celebrating soldiers. First of all, can you tell me your full name and why you are here?
My name is Stacy Brown and I'm here because my father passed in the army in 2009 in Afghan. We're just here to just show that it's not all about everything that's going on at the moment, and we're here to show respect for the fallen, the people that have lost their lives for our country, and to make sure we are here to, breathe, go to school, do all this, have education, not just here to speak about all these other, I know it's rude to say, but all the other wars and all the other countries going on at the moment, because it's not remembrance, it's not about, do you get what I'm trying to say? It's not World War I, World War II, the guys that have lost their lives to fight for these countries, and I get what's going on is hard, but it's not the same.
Yeah, so when I've always thought of Remembrance Sunday, it's not to celebrate war or death.
No,
it's to remember and respect
the lives that have lost. Yes, the guys that have lost their lives, that have gone and fought their whole lives, lost their lives to make sure we have been able to go to school, continue with life, go to job, do our day-to-day life, whereas if we didn't have them doing that, God knows where we'd be.
Yeah, and of course it's been like, clearly what's going on in the Middle East has taken massive effect here. There's protests going on and there's a massive divide. But this is something that you wanted to speak about very recently. So what made you trigger? What's made you want to speak?
It's the fact that, I'm seeing online and on social media that they're just not there, but they're speaking about how they're going to come on Remembrance Day and they're going to do this and they're going to protest and they're going to do that, and I just think it's a bit disrespectful because, Remembrance Day, like we've just said, is remembering the people that have lost their lives, not about anything that's going on now. We're here to remember the guys and the women and, so forth that have lost their lives and, died for us, not for all this conflict that's going on right now. Like, there's so many other days in the year where we can speak about this and go forwards and help every other country, but just not on Remembrance. That's the one day a year where we gotta respect the fact that people have lost their lives and died for us, and you get me, like.
What is your take on the Palestine-Israel war?
It's sad. It's so sad. Honestly, like, I was looking into it the other day. It was breaking my heart. Like, no woman, no child, no man should have to go through what's going on over there. It is absolutely disgusting. But there is other days, and I would be the first one with a microphone, standing for helping them all protest, but just not on Remembrance Day, because it will just cause so much conflict as well between, like, ex-veterans themselves and people that are protesting. I just feel like it's just going to cause a day of conflict instead of what everyone wants. Everyone wants peace. Everyone wants it to just be a normal, peaceful, happy life, whereas I feel like it's not going to go that way if it all protests and starts kicking off.
If I'm speaking from a Palestinian, a pro-Palestinian perspective, would you agree it's a good way to raise awareness? Maybe them protesting every other day has not done anything for them, and they thought maybe we'll do it peacefully. But
I just don't think it will go peacefully, though. Like, a protest is, as much as they say it's going to be peaceful, it's going to be peaceful. It doesn't always go what people say it's going to go. It's never normally peaceful. I'm not just saying it's going to be them that's going to kick off, because there is obviously British people that don't agree as well. Like, there's there's our poppies, it's all about the respect of the we're here on Remembrance Day. If you want to protest, we'll all be here. We'll all, like, us Brits, we'll fight for you all. Like, we don't discriminate. Just pick a different day. That's our point. Just there's so many other days, and we'll all be there for you. Just not Remembrance, because it just causes conflict. It really does. Like, because there will be not just me in general. Like, ex-veterans that are there and they've served their whole life, and then they're just seeing, like, they're there to respect their friends, or, you know, people they've seen that have passed, and, you know, they're seeing protests about completely other things. They're just a bit like, well, we're not respecting the fallen if we're speaking about something else. And I know it's a bit rude because they've got so much going on, but there's so many other days. Like I've said, there is so many other days a year, and we will be there, but just, there's that one day to speak about the fallen, you know, respect them, understand what they've been through, understand that they've risked their whole life for us. Don't just pass them by and just be like, oh yeah, well, there's something else going on now, so let's just forget about that and just move on to the new thing, because it's not. There's burning poppies, it's burning reefs, it's all at the memorials. So they've just gone round, for example in Glasgow, that's where I've seen it, they've burnt all the reefs, the memorials, they broke the benches, like the memorial benches, and it's just pure disrespect. Like, and they said it's a peaceful protest, but it's not. Like, if poppies are being burnt and reefs are being burnt and, you know, benches are being broke, that's not peaceful. I don't get how that's peaceful at all, because that's lives that are just being disregarded because they're like, oh yeah, well, I can just break this and I can do that. No, because we are here putting those reefs down, those poppies down, and those benches down to remember their lives and remember the people that have been, you know, who've died and people that have been gone. So I don't understand why they think it's peaceful but then still break it all.
How does it make you feel on a personal level, with your father passing away in war and that day being, you know, dedicated for him? How does it make you feel?
I'm happy that they have a day, obviously, but it just frustrates me that it's getting just not taken over, but I feel like it's just been, taken over, that they just feel like, oh no, it's fine because, you know, they've had it every year. And for example, I've seen things on TikTok about how, you know, it's okay to burn it all and it's okay to have peaceful protests, but it's not peaceful. And I just feel like it's all getting out of hand, and it really does upset me personally, because I'm just like, so what did my dad fight for? You know, like, if he's fought for this country, which he thought he did, but then I feel like the country's just thrown it in his face because, you know, like I've said, the poppies are being burnt, the benches are being broken, the roofs have all been burnt. Like, it's just pure disrespectful. It's not, there's no respect in any way. The respect is gone. It's all for, let's just do one for themselves. Yeah. Everyone for themselves. I just feel like it's a bit like,
if your father was alive now and he saw this, how do you think he'd feel?
He'd be furious. He'd be absolutely furious. He loved the army. He loved his job. He loved helping and doing what he could to help people. And I think he'd be absolutely furious at the fact that all these soldiers and everyone that have lost their lives aren't actually getting the respect they need, and they're just getting, you know, thrown to the side. Let's just do this new protest and let's just remember all these other people. But as much as they do need to be respected and they do need to be heard, not on that day. There's different days, not a Remembrance Day. We don't 100% get what you're going through, but just like, try and understand these soldiers have gone through, you know, they've lost their whole lives, the families, they've lost their fathers, mothers, brothers, all sorts. Just maybe try a different day, or because we'll all be happy, we'll all go forwards for you, we'll all, you know, get our microphones, stand up, protest with you, but it's just the one day that we try to respect our soldiers, respect the ones that have made sure we can carry on with our life and live our life. So I don't know, I feel like we should just leave that to the soldiers.
Thank you very much for your time. Worries. It was amazing.
No worries.
What's happening, people? So we've got a familiar face here in Stacy. If you remember, we interviewed her going back a couple months due to her unfortunate circumstances with housing at the St Athens base.
Yep.
Maybe you want to quickly just give a little update.
Yep. Since the podcast last time, to be fair, the army did step in. They did actually get me a house. I didn't end up in the hostel. The army charities did put up the funding, did move us here, and thanks to Colin and his podcast, we didn't actually have to get into any homeless unit. For some reason it took the podcast for anybody to acknowledge what was going on, but since it went out, I'm very appreciative. to yourselves because it got the word out there, and I'm very, very grateful to the fact that my children and myself now have a home, and we're no homeless anymore, and we've managed to get a roof over our heads, and we don't have to worry about the fact that we might be living on the streets. And I'm very, very grateful to the fact that the podcast was done, because if it wasn't done, then I don't feel that we would have had the help, and it's quite sad, but I'm quite glad I spoke out, and I'm really appreciative that they got the support, and it's my children now have a house and we're settled.
That's the main thing, and I won't deflect the compliment, but I'll play it down. Like, you know, I think the army, you know, if
they
it
did
wasn't
step
for them,
up,
step in,
but it did take somebody to expose what was going on before they actually stepped in, and I am grateful, but it was a lot of stress and a lot of heartache before to get to the point we had to speak out before we actually got it. But yes, we've got a house, we're not homeless, and we're very, very grateful
and
for
thanks
that.
to the army, like, thank you, innit?
Yeah, thank you to SAFA for raising the funds.
Yeah.
Thank you to SAFA for putting the deposit down, and the lady was called Norma. I'm really, really grateful to
Thank
her.
you to Norma, yeah.
And also to the army headquarters in London, who contacted myself to put the eviction on hold and tried to give me the time needed for Norma to get the funds available to put us into this property. You know, without that, we would have definitely been in some homeless unit. We would have definitely been on the streets. We were facing eviction, but since the podcast went out, the army did step in, the headquarters did contact us, and SAFA did put the funds forward to make sure that we didn't have to go through that, and I'm very, very grateful.
And that's what the Central Club's all about. It's just raising awareness. You know, sometimes it just takes that, just a bit of limelight and a bit of shine on it, and your passion just sells itself.
To be honest with you, the army headquarters did say they didn't know anything about it, and it came to their attention due to the podcast, and they did ring us from London, and they did ask us, like, what can we do to support you?
They made that amends straight away.
And they did. To be fair, his name is Pete, the guy. He contacted the army housing department. They asked to put it on hold. They asked to give us more time, which we did. We managed to get an extra 4 weeks more than what we were supposed to have. We didn't have to worry about the bailiffs turning up. We were told not to worry about that we would have a secure address before we would be put in the streets.
Well, on to other pressing things now. I never thought I'd come and see you again, really.
Thank you so much. Here we are.
You know, a lot's been going on lately with what's going on in the Middle East, things playing out in our country. But the reason I've come to you is because, of course, your husband was a part of the British Army.
He was,
sadly passed away as a hero, really, you know.
I mean, everybody that serves in the forces, no matter what country you're in, they're all heroes. My problem and my family's problem is we feel completely disrespected. Not us, but I mean, Remembrance Day this year is something that happens every single year, and it's been put on hold. All we see on social media is poppies being burned. There is protests happening in London when there should be remembrance parades happening in London. I am very, very unhappy with the government at the minute. We as a family could have had my husband here, and the same as every other family who's lost somebody. We're not the only ones. There is several out there over the years for many wars. But at the end of the day, Remembrance Day is Remembrance Day. People seem to forget that that is the one day we respect the soldiers, to give you the right to have your freedom, to put your TikToks up, to put your things on Facebook, to be able to go and live your life, to be able to have the freedom that you've got every single day. And people are starting to forget about that and start turning it into some sort of racist war. It's not about racist war. It's not about whatever country you're from. The simple fact is people lost their life defending your country, and you have the right, you should have the common decency in you to respect them for that. The families of the fallen, we could have had our husbands at home, their fathers at home. We could have lived their life merrily pretending and being ignorant, but no, some men out there, some women as well, went out there, gave their all, lost their life, and families had to live and grow up without them. We lost all your memories, and the disrespect that we are seeing this year, most of all. Okay, it happens every other year, but this year, most of all, our Remembrance Day is being cancelled or held 3 days before, or even your Vale of Glamorgan Council holding it 3 days before the actual date. I'm sorry, but that is absolutely disgusting. That is disgusting to the people who gave their life, who are still serving, the families who have lost, for the memories that's been taken away from us. How dare you? How dare anybody come into this country and disrespect the one day that we remember our fallen soldiers who gave their life to give you the freedom to write your bitchy statements on Facebook, to write your videos on TikTok, to put up your comments. If it wasn't for our soldiers out there fighting, you wouldn't be entitled to that. I think everybody needs a reality check, and everybody needs to realise how spoiled you really are. Our men and women are out there fighting for your country, and you can't give them one day. No, we are not a racist family or a racist country. Everybody deserves peace. Everybody deserves love and a home and safety. But when it comes to the respect and the common decency for our soldiers and our families, then I'm sorry, but that is like spitting in our faces. Now, I've got 2 children who had to live without their father, who had to grow up without the memories of an absolute devoted father, because he believed in defending his country, not just his country. He used to tell his children, don't worry, I'm out there catching the bad men, so the bad men never come and get you. This man used to give, when he was on tour, we have a letter up the stairs, he gave chocolate to a little girl abroad in one of these countries, and she was stoned to death. He was out there fighting, and he believed what he was fighting in, to protect the children, to protect your future, to protect our future, and unfortunately, we lost him. Our memories are gone. He was 25 years of age. He was killed 2 days before Christmas, and not one of us can see right now is any common decency, is any sort of respect for the fallen or their families, and how much my children have had to miss out on such a wonderful father. He wasn't just a soldier, he was a husband, he was a son, he was a brother, he was a father. Memories were stolen, a life was robbed from us, and he believed in what he was fighting for. And I 100% know if he was here again right now, he would do it all again, because he wanted peace. He wanted to protect the country. He wanted to protect the children abroad. He wanted to bring peace and structure and normality to every country. Now, we welcome everybody in, which everybody's got the right to be. But how dare you come into this country and take away the one day that we give soldiers now. Gay pride, mental health, that's a month. All sorts of other things get months. One day our soldiers get, one day Remembrance Day, and we can't even have that. We can't have a poppy. A poppy's not racist. The poppy represents the black for the sorrow of the widows who weep, for the blood that was spilt, and the green is for the grass where the blood was spilt on. There is no racism in that. It is a symbol of what sacrifice that so many people have gave to this country and other countries when they're out there protecting yous. How dare we disrespect all these families, all these men, all these women who are still fighting and have fought, and many have lost their lives. And I completely think the world just forgot about that, and we need a wee remembrance of Remembrance Day.
I'm speechless.
It makes me angry. I am the most peaceful person in this world, but I lost my husband. My children lost their father, and we're not the only person. And he was the happiest. 25. He was a young boy. He didn't even get a chance. And he stood firm for the age of 16. He joined at 16 and he had a passion for what he did. And he was good at it. It was his first tour. He'd done many tours. And the sad thing is, I always thought we were going to lose him to this. And he kept saying he would die for a reason. What reason? Can somebody tell me what reason? Can somebody tell me, do you know his name? His name was Tommy Brown. He was a father of 2 children. He was a brother of Jonathan. He had a mother and a father. He was devoted. He wanted a family. He had plans through life. But we didn't get that because he sacrificed that to give that to use. And he would do it all again. But can you imagine how us as families feel to see our puppies burnt, to see our benches getting burnt, to see our Remembrance Days getting cancelled? Can you imagine how that feels to us, that their life means nothing to you when they gave everything they had so that you could have your freedom? Do you even understand that when you put your videos on TikTok, when you put your crappy posts up, when what you're doing is causing racism? All we wanted was peace. All he wanted was peace. All he wanted was everybody and every child in the world to have normal safety, and you can't even give one day, just one day, and respect the man that we lost, the soldier that stood there and was killed by an IED 2 days before Christmas. And I don't even want to get into the details because it's absolutely disgusting and it's traumatic. But he done that for people like yous, and he would do it all again. And all we're asking as a family is give him the common decency. World War I, World War II, all the soldiers, all the families, all the people that's got to leave their memories behind. Just take 2 minutes is all we ask for, innit? A 2-minute silence on Remembrance Day, one day. And for some reason this country can't seem to remember that. And for this year, it's absolutely appalling to see the protests that's allowed to happen. I understand protests are happening. Pick another day. 365 days. Pick any day. Pick any day. We have one day of the whole entire year to just remember what we lost, what he gave, for you to sit there and write your videos or your peace. Peace was what they fought for, and we're not seeing that. What we're creating now is animosity, racism, anger. Everybody's angry at each other. If everybody just stopped attacking, we're not fighting each other. I don't understand why we're fighting each other. But one day in this country, if you're going to be here, honour the fallen, honour the families, and respect the fact that people have lost to give you what you've got.
Any final words, Stace?
I'm sorry that I've had to say this, but I'm sick today for sitting here watching my 2 children spat in their faces, crying, thinking their dad's life was given in vain. I want to believe that I lost my husband for a purpose, for a reason, for something. But what? Because I can't see it. I honestly can't see. And it feels like we're just lost, and there's no respect. Where's the respect? My husband, my children's father, was taken from us. Do you even care? Do you even understand? It's not about an army. It's not about a war. It's about a 25-year-old guy who put his life in the line, and he wasn't the only one. I mean, World War I, there was 14-year-olds going up there fighting and losing their lives. World War II, the same. I mean, how many wars has people died in? It's not... Just remember, that soldier was a person. That soldier was a son, a daughter, a mother, a father. And try for a wee single second to think about a wee bit of compassion and a wee bit of respect to how that must feel for us when you're protesting, burning our poppies, burning our benches. And why? One day, I'm sure as a nation, and we're Britain, just honour the fallen. Respect the men that's putting their lives in the line to give you the freedom that you have every day. And just remember, one day, 364 days, you do what you want. One day. Honour the fallen is disgusting.
Thank you, Stace.
The Central Club.